Hello everyone, this is Prashant Mavani and I welcome all of you in news analysis program of StudyIQ. Dear friends, the date today is 4th September 2017 and the day is Monday, and let me quickly give you a brief overview of the design of this news analysis program. All the important items that are relevant for your examination are handpicked, then they are analyzed and presented in such a way to you guys that it becomes very easy for you to absorb. In couple of weeks you will find that your conceptual clarity will get crystallized, your capacity in understanding and studying things will increase drastically, and you will find sheer fun in studying and preparing for your examination. Today we are going to talk about general knowledge. We will also see if there are any concepts that are working behind it. We will cover important topics that are printed in both print media and digital media, and we will also focus on cabinet reshuffle, which is our focus topic of the day. So let's start with floodwaters. Now this has been in news for many times, and this generally happens every year. We find that rivers in Assam are becoming sorrow for the people of this country. And this is not limited to Assam. We have seen recently that it took place in Uttar Pradesh, it happened in Bihar, it happened in West Bengal as well. So what are the reasons? What are the geological reasons that are working behind it? The geological reasons are Himalayan rivers. If you understand the nature of Himalayan rivers, then you will know about most of the things, or you will understand why these things are taking place here. Now we have three predominant river system in northern part of our country. They are Ganga, Indus and Brahmaputra. All these rivers originate, and of course their tributaries as well. Most of the tributaries do originate from mountains of Himalayas, and these rivers are known as perennial river. Perennial basically means they have water throughout the year. Now why they have water throughout the year? Because in the winter time you find snowfall over there. In the rainfall season or in the monsoon season you have abundant amount of rain in this higher hill areas, and in the summertime you find the snow is melting. This keeps these rivers flowing throughout the year. It is carrying enough water throughout the year, and because these rivers are originating from mountain tops, right, from glaciers, these rivers are passing through many rocky areas, and because of this it keeps on doing erosion and deposition activities. Erosion basically means that when the water is rubbing the stone, it will break down the stone into small pieces, like it will also break down into sand, silt and some rocks. Now this rocks, sand and silt is carried by the flowing water and it is deposited in the lower areas. Because of this, the river, a capacity of a river, or you can say a riverbed, will get filled by all these stones and things, and a time will come when the river will not have enough capacity to hold the water that is coming from the mountains, and the water will find new course, and because of this things are these rivers are turning into a curse from a boon. The second topic is world's first glue. Now this sort of questions are seen in your prelims exam. This is based on Neanderthals. These people used to roam on this earth 2 lakh years ago, and they get their name from Netherlands because the archaeologist people have found their evidences in Netherlands. Now they used to make glue. They used to make it from birch bark. Birch bark would sound familiar to some people, because if you go through your NCERTs, then you will find that during the Vedic period in our India, birch bark were used for writing manuscripts, isn't it? It was used like a paper. Rig Veda was written on this sort of things. Then other handwritten items we find in ancient India was written on birch bark. It is a tree. Birch is a tree that is found in Himalayas. It is also found in a deciduous forest of Europe as well, and this research was conducted by University of Leiden. Moving on to another item, India-Nepal relations. Couple of days ago, Prime Minister of Nepal was in India. Recently, both these nations have started a joint military exercise, and it goes by the name Surya Kiran. Remember the name Surya Kiran is a military exercise that is conducted between Nepal and India. They will try to confuse you by giving names of Sri Lanka. They will try to confuse you by giving the name of Bangladesh. But remember, it is Surya Kiran. This is the thing that you have to mug up, right? If you can't remember, if you can't understand, then just mug it up, because this sort of questions will fetch you a couple of marks. The location of this exercise this year is in Nepal. Objectives are counter-terrorism, forest fighting operations. 300 troops from both sides are going to take part. And one more thing that I would like to add that will increase your conceptual clarity on relation of India and Nepal is that India and Nepal have age-old military ties. Since the advent of British Raj, they used to hire Gurkha battalions. They made Gurkha battalion, and even today as well we have Gurkha battalions. There are thousands and thousands of ex-military personnel who are from Nepal, who are living in Dehradun, or they are living in Nepal, and they are getting pension from Indian Army because they have bravely served our country. So this is the relation, and many times you hear the things like Roti Beti Ka Sabandh between these two nations, that we used to share, or we do share bread with each other, and apart from military relations, matrimonial relations do exist between India and Nepal. Another item that is related with tribal life, it is related with rural economy. Now it is in news that a local plant, people of Sundarbans is a mangrove forest in West Bengal, and people here are using a medicinal plant called Harkoch Kata. Now this Harkoch Kata plant is useful in treating tiger bites. Sundarbans has Royal Bengal tiger in it, and many times people have confrontation with this tiger. So Dr. Punarbasu Chaudhary, who is from University of Kolkata, has requested the government, and he has stressed that this plant should be used, research should be conducted on it, and if the research results are good, then we should commercialize it as well. Now there is something similar found in the Hindu today, and that is coming from Odisha. Now some districts of Odisha, the women particularly, are engaged in selling siali leaves. Now siali leaves are used for making disposable plates. I'm sure you might have taken food on this sort of disposable plates. Nowadays we generally find plastic plates all around, isn't it? And I would like to connect one thing with it. Recently we know that in Mumbai we had 100 mm of rainfall in 24 hours, isn't it? And apart from Meethi River, one of the biggest reason was that blockage of all the drainage channel. And why this channels, where this gutter system was blocked? Because plastic and garbage had blocked this river carrying, or the rainwater carrying drainage system of Mumbai. And this indicates that we have to get rid of, we have to move towards sustainable development. And this here, siali is a good solution of making disposable plates. The other thing is that, see, the people who are doing research, or people who are using these things, not research, but the people who are using it are from a rural area. And here we can say that rural solution for urban problems can be found. Here you have a medicine, and here you have siali. Then there is another, these women are also they have also started growing medicinal plants, which provides them extra income. So this is something that it will stop the migration from the rural area to the urban area. It will also solve the problem of urbanization in India. Apart from that, it will develop a rural economy. The participation of women in economy will increase, and if this plants and if this raw material is provided to pharmaceutical companies, and we know that in India we have huge pharmaceutical companies, and in fact India is a leading player, a major player in pharmaceutical sector. So if raw material is available, then we should use it and make a whole chain integration. This will give profits to the people like tribal and women in the village area who are providing raw material. Moving on, you can use this example to, you can use this sort of examples in your main answer writing questions as well. RBI Governor, a sheer dose of general knowledge. I Do What I Do is a book written by former RBI Governor Mr. Raghuram Rajan, but here I would like to add one more thing. I would like to provide you some conceptual clarity on how RBI Governor is appointed. Remember, RBI Governor is appointed by Prime Minister in consultation with Finance Minister. So Prime Minister will consult the Finance Minister and then he will pick up a person. The Cabinet Secretary gets all these perks and benefits are being provided to RBI Governor as well. Currently, Mr. Urjit Patel, who is RBI Governor, is running the show and is going through the most difficult year of RBI. We have seen demonetization taking place, and recently we are seeing non-performing asset issue. Non-performing asset issue will be discussed today when we analyze editorials and articles. I will take you through it in detail. And recently RBI has came out with a 99%. It has revealed that 99% of demonetized scrapped notes have returned to the system. Labor laws, ease of doing business. These are the things that we hear and read in newspapers quite oftenly, isn't it? Why labor laws are important? Imagine if you want to open a company in India, if you are coming from Japan particularly, a country in which within a couple of days you can start your business. If you come to India and you find that labor laws are outdated, you cannot sack the person who is not performing well, etc., etc. If these are the laws here, then how we can make India a hotspot for ease of doing business? Now what happened is that Labour Ministry in India prepared a wages code bill in 2015. One of the main aim was to rationalize country's 44 labor laws into 4 codes. These 4 codes are pertaining to wages, industrial relations, social security and safety, health and working condition. It has provisions prohibiting discrimination against transgender. Now these people, transgender, we have ostracized them in our society for the longest time without knowing anything about their history. And same thing has been done by Law Ministry as well. It has shown its reservation. It has cited Central General Clauses Act of 1897, according to which transgender fall within the definition of a person. So it says that there is no need to add a separate clause in the wage code which clearly states that one cannot discriminate between a man, a woman and a transgender when it comes to equal pay for equal work. The government should have clarified this in detail, because this, as we know, in today's generation, today's era as well, we find that they are not respected, they are not integrated in our society. And all this started particularly during the British Raj period. British were quite skeptical about transgenders, but if we go through the history of our country, then we find that transgender used to hold a high position in many kingdoms. In fact, there are many kingdoms as well there where they used to act as the head of the state, like they used to occupy a place of a king or a queen. So this was their history. They have been warriors as well. There are many brave warriors. There have been many seers as well, like rishis and saints from transgender community, and we find their mention in Mahabharata as well. And when we talk about integration, when we talk about equality, integration, recently we have seen IPC section 377 as well, that is pertaining to LGBT, lesbian, gay, trans, sexual people. So we have seen that they are ostracized, they are not accepted by the society, but this should change, because our constitution, if you go through the constitution, then you will find that it does not discriminate between any human beings based on sex. And when it comes to human resource policy, one of the most important thing is that it's not about who is if a person is a man, a woman, or a transgender, the main thing is or are we having a right person with the right skill and right talent with the right pay. This is the basic mantra of human resource, right? Moving on. Environment pollution. 3 items. One is NGT, that is National Green Tribunal, has demanded proof from 4 states. Couple of months ago we have seen that the pollution level of New Delhi was quite high and there was smog everywhere, and because of this schools were shut down and things like that happened, and one of the main reason was dust and pollution from stubble burning. Now this stubble burning is practiced in states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. Once the crop is harvested, when the paddy is harvested, they will burn this paddy stubble, right? The residual, they will burn it in their field and the smoke will rise up and then it will travel to Delhi, creating problem for the people of national capital. Now NGT has fixed environmental fines on farmers as well, and it has asked for the proof from the government that what are the steps you have taken. In Andhra Pradesh, 22 imitation jeweler firms were given notice because they used to contaminate the water and with heavy metals like chromium and lead. Now these two are very dangerous. They are toxic and they are polluting not only the river body but they are also polluting the groundwater as well. And the third incident, see, from these 2 examples I am just going to project what are the immediate impact of pollution. We are using or we are heading towards renewable energy, solar power. But do you know that this sort of air pollution is diminishing India's capacity to harness power from sun? Smog and dust are main culprit here because they are found in air and they are also deposited on solar panels. This is basically diminishing the capacity of panel and diminishing the capacity of our country, which is a country that is located on partly on tropical zone and partly on temperate zone. We have good sunshine throughout the year, but then as well we are estimating, it is estimated that 3,900 megawatt energy will be lost. This is 6 times the capacity of the largest solar farm that has 2.5 million panels. This is a very serious issue. This pollution is not only affecting our life, but it is also hindering us from achieving renewable energy. We know that Prime Minister of our country is in China for attending BRICS Summit. This is the 9th BRICS Summit and this is taking place in Xiamen city of China, which is a coastal city. Let's, before understanding or before going through it or analyzing it, I would rather analyze it after a couple of days because things will be more mature then. We'll find good stuff, quality material, good articles will be there, good editorials, other programs will be on there, so we will pick up the bits and pieces that are important for our exam from all these various sources. At present it is an ongoing thing, so we will just keep ourselves updated with what's going on in BRICS. But before understanding that, let's quickly go through the background. It is a term, BRIC, it is B-R-I-C. BRIC was the term that was coined by Jim O'Neill. Back in 2001, Jim saw that Brazil, Russia, India and China. Remember, at that point of time, South Africa was not on board. So these were the 4 countries as per Jim. He thought that these are emerging countries and investors could put their money or invest their money in these 4 countries, which will give them good return on their investment. On 2003, a report came out and said if all goes well between these 4 countries, then the time is not far when they will dominate. These 4 countries will dominate the financial world, which is heavily dominated by Western countries like UK, France, Germany and United States in particular. So BRIC was formed in 2006 during a United Nations General Assembly. On the sidelines of UN General Assembly, BRIC meeting took place. The first independent meeting took place in Russia back in 2009. There was a question on BRIC a couple of years ago in UPSC prelims as well, and it is not new if you find a question in other exams and in next UPSC, because this is something that is happening, as I told you, and not the summit itself, but it is happening. It is a thing that is going on in the financial world. BRIC is a major platform. I'll give you some more factual detail about it as well. And in 2010, South Africa joined the group, and then from BRIC it became BRICS. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Some important facts. By going through these figures, you will understand the importance of BRICS on world level. It has a population of 3.1 billion people. That accounts for 42% of global population. GDP, 22% of global GDP. It exports 16% of the world, and the share in imports is around 15%. So you can imagine that it is a very important group. 42%, nearly 50% population is represented by BRICS alone. The other thing, important thing that will keep us up to date with ongoing summit is that PM Modi will have one-to-one meet with President Xi Jinping. And interestingly, Mr. Xi said peace and development and not conflict and confrontation should be the security template of 5 emerging countries. One thing that he has said, which I agree with him, is that people around the world, right, they want peace and cooperation and not conflict and confrontation. Everyone wants to live a peaceful life. Generally speaking, human beings will love to have a peaceful, a happy life, a prosperous life, and any sort of confrontation between any country is not going to be beneficial for anyone. So far, so good. BRICS Summit. Tata bye-bye for now. Let's move on to next topic, and that is North Korea's hydrogen bomb. This is a sheer danger for the whole world. It has tested a hydrogen bomb. Hydrogen bomb, there is no need to go into too much technical detail about this thing, but it is a very dangerous bomb. They are also known as H bombs. Many times they are known as H bombs. It has declared its biggest ever nuclear detonation a perfect success. North Korea is a rogue nation, and the world has reacted with anger to the 6th nuclear test of the country. USA monitored 6.3 magnitude earthquake, and Donald Trump has also threatened that if any country is dealing or if is being cordial or friendly with North Korea, if it is supporting it or doing business with it, then USA is going to cut trade relationship off with that country. One important item, United Nations Nuclear Watchdog. Remember, International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, is an agency of United Nations, and it has termed this act of hydrogen bomb testing a very dangerous or extremely regrettable act. India has also condemned it. India is quite concerned about the way North Korea is behaving, because there in the past as well this thing has happened, that North Korea has provided nuclear technology to Pakistan, and we know very well that Pakistan is a trouble country for India. So any proliferation of nuclear weapon in North Korea has indirect relation with the national security of our country because of Pakistani card here. Moving on, dear friends, IT departments has found new shell companies. Now, what is shell company? Shell company, in a very simple definition, is that a company that is on book, right? On papers, you find all the transactions and all the business activities taking place, but in reality, there is nothing like that. Shell companies are made, shell firms or shell companies are made for money laundering, for evading tax and all these things, right? So this is the most simple definition of shell firms. Now, IT department has identified nearly 2,138 firms that has deposited unaccounted cash during the demonetization period. Operation Black Money is going on. IT companies, IT department, not IT companies, I beg your pardon, IT department has raided many places, and it is doing quite well in Operation Clean Money. The more white money coming, when I say white money, I mean to say that when the money gets accounted, and the government will of course take away the share of tax, that legitimate tax, and this tax can be used for the development of the country. So this is the direct relation. This is one of the most important point, because if someone is evading tax, that means the government will have less revenue in its hand, and the less revenue government has, the less it can develop the country, isn't it? So direct relation between tax evasion and development of country. And we also know that this money is used for human trafficking. Black money is used for all the nefarious activities, terrorism, things like that. Moving on, editorial analysis. Let's start with a couple of articles and then we will head towards our focus topic. This article is Economy Outlook Still Cloudy. The name itself suggests that the economic situation or the economic outlook is still not that clear, or it's still not having as sunshine. This is written by Ajit Ranade, and he is an economist. Many a times you find his articles, generally speaking, his articles are easy to understand, and they are quite informative as well. Now, economic data between April 2017 and June 2017 indicates that the growth of GDP has clocked at the rate 5.7%. From last 6 quarters, there has been a decline in growth rate, and this is a matter of worry, because if you see the bigger picture, generally what happens is that the conditions are not favorable, and because of that you find that economy is not picking up, or the growth is not picking up. But here the bigger pictures, or the macroeconomic, right, basically macroeconomic, in a very simple term, I would like to say that it is the bigger picture from the national level. When you see the whole economy, you find that things are quite favorable, but then as well it is not going on. What are the things that are happening in the national level? Inflation has been moderate and recently touched 1.5%. Now, dear friends, I would request all of you to listen these points consciously, because these are the things that are going to increase your capacity. If you are not too much sure about how things works in economy, then here we go. We will listen, we will understand and expand our knowledge regarding this area. So inflation. Inflation basically means general rise in price. If the things are expensive, then naturally you will not spend money, isn't it? But if the things are reasonably cheaper, then naturally people will find that let's buy some things because things are getting cheaper. So this is a thing. Inflation is moderate and it has touched 1.5%. The target of RBI is 4%, right? To keep the inflation, RBI has set a target that it should be 4% plus and minus 2%. So it should be in the range of 2% and 6%. It should be somewhere between this range, but it is 1.5, so it is moderate. Then as well we find that it is cloudy. The other thing is trade and fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit basically means the revenue in the hand of government. Government receives income and government spends money. These are the two things, right? Just like any other business. Consider government as a business. It receives money from various sources like tax, selling spectrum, things like that. So it gets money, and then it is running so many hospitals, it is running railways, airlines, many Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana and things like that. So it has to spend money as well. So expenditure and revenue as well is moderate. It is not that it is making too much losses. Fiscal deficit, that means shortage in revenue in context of expenditure is also moderate. It is manageable. This means that it does not have to use the foreign exchange reserve for spending. So this is also a favorable condition. Then interest rates are down. It has been cut many a times. What is the relation of interest rate over here with the economy? Very simple. If you want to buy a house, or if you want to buy a motorcycle or any other items, or if you are a business and if you want a loan, you will always opt for a loan that is having a cheaper rate of interest. If the money is available at a cheap rate, then naturally it will tend the business, or it will work as a pull factor for the business to borrow money from banks, isn't it? So interest rates are also down, and once interest rates are down, and if the money is being taken by the businessman as a loan, then this will be invested in business. That means new jobs will be created. New jobs will give more job security to people. Then they will spend if they have regular source of income, then they will spend that money as well in the economy. So this way the whole cycle keeps on moving. Inflow of dollars in financial market as well as in direct investment, both in stock exchange and in companies as a direct investment, is also at its peak. Oil prices having a direct relation with inflation. Transportation, we use diesel, isn't it? For our railways, we use diesel. For trucks, we use refined petrol for or refined kerosene. For our aeroplanes, we use diesel for the water transportation, and we are importing 80% of the fuel that we use. So this means we have to spend a lot of money after oil, and oil is a very volatile product. The prices can go up and down, but from the longest time the prices are down. Then as well, the author of this article is saying it is cloudy. Why it is cloudy, we will of course find out. Monsoon is normal as well. Good monsoon means good irrigation facility. Now in India you have 50% of land that has irrigation facility, but rest 50% does not have any sort of irrigation facility. So they rely on rainy season. If the rain is good, then their agriculture product would be good. If the agriculture products are good, then this will bring money in the hands of farmers. Then they will spend this money. They will come to towns and city to purchase things. In this way, the whole urban and rural economy, and in short, the whole economy of our country keeps on moving. Now, Economic Survey Part 2 that was recently launched. Remember, Economic Survey are made by Chief Economic Advisor, and Chief Economic Advisor works under Finance Ministry, right? Remember this thing. Now, Part 2 of Economic Survey projects that the growth will be between 6.5 to 7%, and Chief Economic Advisor Dr. Arvind Subramaniam says that it is going to be under 7%. This means that the potential of our economy, that is around 7.5 or 8%, we would be losing 1% in growth. This, if you translate, it amounts for 1.5 lakh crore rupees, loss of 1.5 lakh crore rupees of national income. This also means that millions of jobs which could be created are not created. One of the main reasons why this is down is because industrial output industrial scenario is not that good, and one of the main reason is GST rollout. It is not all negative. GST is a positive thing. It has integrated the whole nation into one market, but for time being, the companies or the factories that were producing things in the previous regime, indirect tax regime, they were skeptical about GST, so many of the companies they stopped their production. So because of this thing as well, the manufacturing sector was down. The other thing is in credit industry is shrinking. This falls in your service sector. Now credit industry means banking, right? I told you the loan rates are cheaper, interest rates are down, but then as well banks are not able to, the people, customers are not coming to the bank for getting for borrowing any sort of loan. This includes both businessmen and personal loans. Private investment, which is need of the hour because it is growing at a rate of 1.5% only. Private investment and government investment, these are the two things. Private investment definitely and obviously means investment coming from private parties. It could be a businessman or it could be a private organization that is investing in it, investing in the economy. We have so many programs like Make in India, we have programs like Digital India, Housing for All, Smart Cities. These are all flagship programs of Modi government. But still, after doing all these of doing business and changes in labor law, excess of electricity, then as well we are not seeing a rise in private investment. This has a direct relation with sentiments. That means how they are feeling, whether they feel to invest in India or not. So government has to build that confidence in private investors. Then this, here comes non-performing asset. As I told you that I will explain it to you a bit later, this is the main culprit. Twin balance sheet. What is twin balance sheet? Balance sheet is a thing in account in which you have your assets and your liabilities, right? I'm not teaching you accounts. It is very simple thing. Asset basically means all the things that could be movable properties or immovable properties, right, that I have with me. Now for a bank, giving a loan is giving an asset to someone, and for the corporate people, or if for a borrower, when he or she or an organization is borrowing money from the bank, it is a sort of liability. They have to give it back to bank at one point of time. But because of various factors, what happened is that these people are not able to pay back. Not everyone is absconder. Many of the businessmen or business organizations are not able to pay back because of many unfavorable situation going in the global and domestic market. So because of that, they are not able to pay back the money, and banks who used to have a limited amount of money, of course, even if they have in lakhs and lakhs of crore, it is limited. They have given huge chunk of money to this corporate house, so they don't have enough money to give it to other people, particularly farmers and common men. So whenever they are giving, they have to charge extra interest. They have to charge higher interest rate, or even if the RBI cuts down the policy rate, the banks like SBI and other banks are not in condition of giving that benefit to the regular people, because they have to run the business, because their money is stuck with corporate people. So this is called twin balance sheet problem. Balance sheets of both banks and corporate houses are not doing well. The other thing why cloudy situation prevails in our economy is because the rupee is getting stronger. Now you would find that, you would think that rupee getting stronger is something good. But if you are an exporter, then you won't like it, because what happens is when you export things, right, you would get less dollars in your hand, isn't it? And when you import things, you have to pay less because the rupee is getting stronger. So when rupee is stronger, it is natural for the traders to import things that are produced in other markets, that are produced in other countries, which can be imported cheaply in context of domestic products. So in this way as well, the domestic production gets affected. But hopefully the different items that are working at present, one is GST, then insolvency code. We have seen in our previous slide how IT department is running after or is chasing all these absconders. Aadhaar linkage is curbing all the corruption. New monetary framework policy is working quite well. So because of all these things, in medium term, we will find that economy will pick up. So I hope, dear friends, with this article I have tried to explain you some of the basic things regarding economy. If you don't understand some of the things, if they are quite new, then I would request you to pause this video here, take it back and try to read and listen carefully what I have said, and try to think on the examples that I have provided. I like this picture here on this. This is written by Rana Kapoor, and the picture is quite interesting. It places tree. That means environment is above your money, isn't it? Ecological factors are superior than economical factors. Now let's see what this gentleman has to say. Investing in the ecosystem. In the 3rd Asian Ministerial Conference on Tiger Conservation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi quoted Buddha. He said, "The forest is a peculiar organism of unlimited kindness. It affords protection to all beings, offering shade even to the X-Man who destroys it." This was said by Buddha. And this article is important because it talks about natural ecosystem. Now, natural ecosystem includes land portion that we know as lithosphere, the air portion that we know as atmosphere, and the water portion on our planet which we know as hydrosphere. When all these three portions interact with each other, life prevails on this earth, which we know as biosphere. And in this biosphere we have all different living beings. We have a small microbe and we have blue whale, right? I'm not talking about blue whale game. I'm talking about microbes and the biggest animal on our planet. Everyone works in ecosystem. We are all dependent on each other. This includes trees, plants, shrubs, and all the microbes and mammals. Everyone. We are in an ecosystem. And this article talks about ecosystem is equal to natural capital. This author, he has kept, or he has put or placed this ecosystem on a platform equivalent to natural capital. If we see the natural resources of India, we find that 11% of world's plants and animals, that is flora and fauna, are found in our country. Imagine how rich our country is in flora and fauna. India is one of the 17 most ecologically diverse countries. And if you estimate the ecological and economical outcome of this ecosystem, then we find that timber, fuel, these are economical items, and then you have carbon sequestration, this is your ecological item. This accounts for nearly $1.7 trillion. This indeed proves that it is a natural capital. Now, are we looking after our natural capital very well? You know the answer, no. We are destroying it, isn't it? Rising economic activities are resulting in decline in natural capital. And this, you know, the case of Delhi, recently we have talked about it. It will impact the quality of life. It will impact each and every one of us. We have seen what took place in Mumbai as well. We have talked about it today. So this is going to be very dangerous for all of us. And in future, if we are running out of natural resources, right, if we don't have raw material, if we don't have leaves, if we don't have the trees that can provide us raw material for our disposable plates, if we don't have herbs and shrubs that can provide raw material for our medicine, then it will impact our quality of life and it will impact the future as well. It will create inefficiencies in future. Now here I also found Earth Overshoot Day. Now what basically means Earth Overshoot? Basically it means that we are using more resources. In comparison to what Earth can regenerate. This is again a very dangerous situation. We are finding lots of animal species are getting extinct every single day. And scientists have also given 9 safe zones And they have said that if we cross this 9 safe zones, then we will make a sort of irreversible change in our environment. But very sadly, unfortunately, we have crossed 4 boundaries. These are climate change, loss of biosphere integrity, land system change, and we have altered biochemical cycles as well. That includes phosphorus and nitrogen. What he suggests, or in this article, the author talks about that we can, if the business which are engaged in economic activities, if they widen their valuation and risk management items, and if they include natural capital, flora and fauna in it, then we can save our planet. It will help them mitigate the risk that are going to take place in future, and it will also work as a push and pull factor for inventing new technologies. We have good examples of California, a company in California which consumed less water and hence saved $1,300 on water bills during drought year. Israel, we know it very well for water management. Ladakh is also, the culture of Ladakh is such that nothing is wasted over there. With that, dear friends, we move ahead to article, editorial that is on Kenya. Recently, election took place in Kenya and the results were out, but Supreme Court of Kenya has annulled the presidential election outcome. So re-election is going to take place. Generally speaking, violence is something you find very common in Kenya during election. 20 people have died this time. In 2007, imagine 1,000 people died in election itself, and many politicians are facing trials at International Criminal Court. Election Commission is also not having that good reputation in Kenya. And the thing that we have to worry about is that India and Indian diaspora people, NRIs, are living in Kenya. They are having considerable property over there. And many times we see that whenever this sort of political disturbances takes place in any country, then foreigners are also, they also become a victim of all the violence. So we have to ensure that they are safe and sound over there. And the other thing is that Kenya is generally considered a major player in Africa, one of the strongest in Africa, particularly in the northern part. You find Nigeria is a very strong country, but Kenya is also there on the top list. If things are going on in Kenya like this way, then it will be replicated in other countries as well. And Africa is infamous for, African countries are infamous for the leaders holding the position for the longest period of time. And recently India and Japan together are going to make a sort of economic corridor between passing all the way through Asia, Southeast Asia and South Asia, and touching Africa. So if political situations are not good in Kenya, which is again a Indian Ocean country, then it may impact that project as well. Celebrate but introspect. This is an article on Devendra Arya. Now tell me how many of you have heard about Devendra Arya. This article is about how we treat Divyangs, the people who are with special abilities, right? How we treat them. They are not paid very well. Their situations are not quite good, even if they have earned the highest award in sport in our country. Recently this happened with Deaflympics players as well. When they came back from the Turkey, there was no one to receive them, no person from no minister or higher dignitaries, no one was there to receive them, even if they have earned 1 gold medal in Turkey. Rio Summer Paralympics were not broadcasted, and with this, dear friends, what I'm trying to highlight here is, again, you can join it with integration and equality. What we have talked about, the third gender people, you can also take. This is again a sort of group in our country that is not respected by our society, or they are not being given the dignity and respect that they deserve. Moving on to the most important topic and the last topic of the day, and this I have kept it purposefully in the end to ensure that our full attention, so there is nothing in between us and this topic when we are discussing it. This is about cabinet reshuffle, one of the most important topic. If you go through Indian Express, if you go through Times of India, if you go through Economic Times, Business Standard, and of course you can see the Hindu article on your screen, you will find article on this thing. This itself indicates that this is one of the most important topic. Why it is one of the most important topic, we are going to find out. Here is a small picture courtesy to Times of India. You have different levels of minister. You have cabinet minister, minister of state, and minister of state of independent charge. Now dear friends, constitution of our country provides for a parliamentary system of government, and in this parliamentary system we have a cabinet which is the real executive. This cabinet comprises of small amount of people which we call it as the real executives. Cabinet ministers and cabinet secretaries, these are the most powerful people in our country, and the reason why they are powerful is simply because they take all the decisions. They are the one who take all the important decision in our country. The cabinet is headed by Prime Minister and is responsible for the entire administration of Government of India, entire administration, right? This is the heart and mind of Government of India. Cabinet is the most powerful body, so any changes that are taking place in the cabinet is definitely going to be one of the most important item for students preparing for civil services. Total number of council of minister should not exceed 15% of the total strength of Lok Sabha. This also includes Prime Minister. President appoints minister on the advice of Prime Minister. We know it very well that Prime Minister will pick someone and then that name will be referred to the President, and then President will conduct a oath-taking ceremony. So these are the things you are quite familiar about. Members of Lok Sabha, member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha can become minister. A person who is not even a member of parliament can also be made a minister. The only condition is that within the next 6 months he or she has to become a member of parliament, either by election or by nomination. These are some basic things. Now what has happened? Some members of or some ministers are elevated. This includes Nirmala Sitharaman, Piyush Goyal, Dharmendra Pradhan and Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi. Some of them are demoted, or you can say that they have shown the door that you are no longer a minister, go back to the party and serve the party. The party here is BJP. So Bandaru Dattatreya, then you have Rajiv Pratap Rudy, Kalraj Mishra because he has crossed 75 years of his age, and Narendra Modi is quite clear about 75 year. Anyone who has crossed this age cannot be in active politics as per the BJP rule. So Kalraj Mishra is out. Now you have new entrants as well. For all of you who are targeting to become or aspiring to become civil servants, here is good news for you. See, 4 new entrants are from civil services. One is IPS, one is IAS, and 2 are from IFS, Indian Foreign Services. Now out of this 4 civil servants, 2 are not even member of parliaments as well. But now you know that that's fine. They have 6 months. In this 6 months they have to enter in the house as a member of parliament. Moving on, poor performers is clearly they are shown the way out, and better performers are elevated. You will not find these points in your newspaper articles, but this is sheer read between the lines. This is what understanding is all about. Transition period, right? I see it as a transition period of Indian politics. What used to happen before is that if you are a powerful minister or if you are a powerful leader of a party or from a particular region, if you are going to ensure that what will come to this party, then you would be made a minister. The more powerful, the more Muslim you are, the better place you will get in the ministry. But we have found that this thing does not work. It is not good for the administration of our country. When we were discussing earlier topic of transgender, I told you a right person with the right talent, with the right pay at the right time in the right post. This is something very important for running any business or any administration, right? If you have people who do not have that sort of caliber and talent, then they are not going to be that much useful. Now you have two different type of people. One is a person who is quite famous within the public, and you have another people who are not that much famous in public, right? Who are not that good in getting votes from the public, because election is something not an area of their expertise, but they are very good administrator. They know how to run the government, they know how to run the ministry and things like that. So it is better for any country to have people who are good in administration, isn't it? So this indeed is a transition period of Indian politics. Now for civil servants, former civil servants as well, it is very interestingly Narendra Modi has placed them outside their area of expertise. Yes, you are listening it right. If a civil servant is good in foreign relation, who has worked in Indian foreign services, he is not given charge of something that has to do with foreign companies. He is given charge of things that he has not worked in before, because he has administration experience, right? Reasonably good administration experience. But when he enters to another area, then he will come with an outsider's perspective, right? He will come with an outsider's expertise. So he can use his expertise in another area, and then he can, with an outsider's perspective, he can work as a change agent. He can change the things that are not right, and because he is coming from outside, he would be more curious. He would keep his eyes and ears open. So in this way, he or she will learn. So this is a very good experience or experiment, not experience, experiment that is conducted by Narendra Modi, and of course he is for the best person for the job. That is the mantra that we can see from here. And one of the main reasons why this is done is because 2019 election is not far. It has got some 18 months to go. Then government wants to deliver the promises it has made, and Narendra Modi is also making New India team, right? New India by 2022. So he wants new people to come and join him. When he took over as Prime Minister, he was having people who were who have worked with the Atal Bihari government as well. But this time, Nirmala Sitharaman and all this, Abbas Naqvi, these whole people are young leaders. And in management, they say that one of the best quality of a leader is to generate more leaders. This is one of the most important quality of any leader. And we also see that flagship programs like Make in India, Smart Cities, Clean India Mission, Ganga Rejuvenation, these things have not worked very well, or they are not they have not produced that sort of results that it should produce. So this is one of the main reasons why he has got new people on board. Now we have biggest surprise, and that is Nirmala Sitharaman is the new defense minister. She is the only woman. Indira Gandhi used to hold the portfolio of defense ministry, but not as a full-time defense minister. But here you have Nirmala Sitharaman, who is going to be a full-time defense minister. So this is again a new chapter in our country's history. And another interesting thing is that now we have two women in Cabinet Committee on Security. We have Sushma Swaraj ji, and now we have Nirmala Sitharaman ji, and both are performing very well. In particularly, Nirmala Sitharaman has performed very well as a commerce minister, and that is one of the main reasons why she is elevated to this post. With this, dear friends, let's hope that this elevation, this new induction of the new people coming into the cabinet, which we know now that is the most important body in our country, with them, let's hope that India will soon turn into New India. With this, I would like to end this discussion here. I do know that today we had a bit long discussion, but the thing is that there were so many important topics that we cannot that I thought I should not let them go. Remember, if you have found this lecture quite helpful, if your conceptual clarity has widened, then trust me, our pen drive courses are of good quality as well. If you want to order them, go to our website of StudyIQ and you can order your pen drive courses online. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this video, do discuss it with your friends as well, do pass me your valuable comment, like this video. With this, I am Prashant Mavani. I'd like to end this discussion. I'll see you all tomorrow. Till then, enjoy your studies, take care, goodbye for now.